honest. I'm absolutely starstruck because we have with us today Dead Northern royalty. Oh, hello, Charlie. Thank you for taking time today to speak to me.
Well, between, kissing babies' heads, sitting old people's homes, and, cutting ribbons, it's been busy.
Absolutely. So, I've seen you at the Rovers Festival for a long time now. You are very, very popular within the movies around here. Tell me a little bit about your journey in cinemas.
Right, okay, wow, God, this could go on for hours. Shot, of the DVD, the bunk set. So, I guess how I got into it, I'll jump back to after I kind of went to art school a very long time ago. I kind of really got into film and using film in my kind of practice. Yeah, that kind of segued into doing performance work, and I started to get a real taste for that.
Must have been really nice, because then when your parents said don't go to art school, you'll make nothing of yourself, and I got to in their faces.
Well, at that stage, once I'd been out, and I'd been out a while, and I had a studio practice, and we were doing shows, and there was a time where you could take over buildings, and obviously you probably can't do that now, but take over building, but run them as kind of art spaces, and it was great, and it was very exciting to be doing those type of shows and kind of borrowing projection units or buying them in Argos to use them for a show, and then the journey. But yeah, after the show could finish, couldn't afford to hire the, So I started getting advertisements to do a lot of short courses at, of course, as you said, you've passed being an undergraduate, and you're out in the world and you're an adult, so you can't go cap in a hand to mum and dad going, I have an epiphany, I want to be an actor. Yeah. So luckily I was able to get a dance and drama award, and I got a scholarship to go back and train and do all of that. And from that, did a lot of theatre regionally, and then started the graft of, doing short films and making my way through that kind of whole world, and I'm beginning to experience that.
It's interesting to use that word graft, because, you do a feature film, you might be there for weeks, months. Your short films, one and done, you're in and out. It must be graft to consistently get work in these short films. I mean, you're in everything in this festival all the time. I try to hit. Must be quite hard work to consistently get into these short films that are very much short bursts.
It is, because the commitment is always for a short amount of time, and that's budgetary constraints. You did find that if you're shooting indie as well, there's budgetary constraints on doing, longer format films, people are shooting for small budgets, they've got to consider post-production and all of that. But yeah, you're in, you're out. So luckily, you kind of get into the habit of doing that, as I did when I left drama school, by doing a lot of fringe, and you do back-to-back fringe. So at times, you were doing the show when you're not on. You're looking at another script for a show that you start rehearsing a week and a half after you finish, but you want to be a bit ahead of the game because you don't have much time to learn, but you're also working part-time. So that's where that work ethic came from. But yes, and I had always loved genre and horror and sci-fi, so I started then to really kind of attend festivals, and I can remember going to Fright Fest for the first time, terrified, because I didn't know anyone, but I loved horror.
Yeah.
And you kind of build up your confidence that way. And then you see castings pop up for horror-related short films, and you kind of start to build in that.
I mean, you said pop up what?
Pop up like, and casting word sites like Mandy and Spotlight and those kind of, those type of sites.
So how important someone like you, as I say, is for after you sort of constantly having to get work and sort of make sure you're busy? How important are film festivals like Fright Fest and Dead Northern for something like that?
Yeah, incredibly important, because you're in a very lucky situation when you get selected for the festival. You're also going to be in the mix, with everybody else who's in attendance, and you might be familiar with somebody's work, and you might really enjoy a director who kind of tricks your fancy a bit in terms of what way their storytelling is, and it's the opportunity to. I don't like using this word networking, especially in the horror context. I think horror genre festivals tend to be different sides of one giant big family merging together to gorge on a lot of like wonderful films that they love, both shorts and features. And it's an easier networking experience to chat to people about influencers in projects they like, and things they've seen, and where they're heading to next and what are they doing next as well. So it's a good place to maybe generate possibility. Or
Suppose like it's all for you. You are busy. You're in everything. You know, I'm in a journey. It goes out. You are in a lot of movies. Yeah. And you find that much easier now. You don't have to do that as much because people know who you are.
Yeah, and it's it certainly hasn't happened. Haven't come in on the last Ryanair flight. Yeah, you do work at this, and I'm a good decade and a bit now down the line doing genre, and it's a decision. I kind of made that decision to stick within that big and wide and exotic feel, because I like that type of storytelling, and I like those stories. And I think when people are in crisis, not that genre just holds that, but I think there's a dynamic quality to horror storytelling that I've always loved.
Yeah,
and it's the rewards that you can reap from that are just fantastic. To be able to go and attend wonderful European film festivals, just like, Biffing mentioned and all of those comments. It's just fantastic.
I suppose being a genre actor, you just sort of said you are. Does that come with benefits and negatives? Because if someone's making a genre that you are known for, they will think of you first and foremost, or does it restrict you because you don't get wide projects?
Well, I think it can be a bit 50-50, if I'm very honest, and I don't want to say I will only do genre and I won't do anything else, because I don't want to limit myself. I don't think any actor, or any director for that matter, or anybody working front behind the camera, we do that. But I sometimes I think that the people might look towards people who regularly work in genre films and just, that's all they do. Yeah, maybe that's all they're capable of doing. I think that's a limiting way of thinking. If you're an actor, you're an actor, and you can apply yourself to a script because you do your homework and you dig deep into a character. What you turn up on the first day, you will have your ideas and your concepts and your offers for your director. You're not turning me off guard. What do you want me to do? If you're bringing an awful lot to it, and you're bringing the experience of having this amount of time in drama as well to a project that might not necessarily be horror sort of fun.
I suppose what it comes out, as you say, you've worked very hard at this for a long time. You have to love it, don't you? You don't love the project. If you don't love that specific job, then you're not going to put it at graft.
Yeah, and I think it's really important. And I think probably most actors will have stories about work that they've taken on and they've gone, okay, maybe this wasn't the best choice, but I'm learning a very valuable lesson.
Yeah.
You have to absolutely love, live, breathe everything about the project, because if you're going to commit to, it could be 2 weeks away, it could be 4 days, and you're not loving every moment, why are you there?
It would be quite ironic, wouldn't it? You work so hard all your life to get where you want to become an actor, then you do it, and you just... Oh.
Well, you kind of have to go, maybe I should be thinking about something.
So what's next?
So, there's a lot of feature films in post-production at the moment. I've finished shooting a lovely short with Brendan Cleese, who I work with quite a bit now, called Crack. That's going to be very dark, very bleak, and very funny as well. And yeah, the feature films are in post-production. The Death of Us, and oh God, now I've got a note like there. But there's 2 other feature films, yes, that are in post-production now. So I think they're going to pop back up onto, what do we know? So 26 into 27 surface, yeah.
How many feature films can you realistically do a year compared to how many shorts do you do in 1 year? So do you do seem to work too much? Like, how do you fit it all in?
No, and I think, not to say, I'm getting choosy now, or, I'm getting picky, but I think you have to, you're spreading out your time over the year, because you also are keeping on board that you want to do festival circuit time as well. And circuit, it is essentially like a clock, but yeah, starts in earnest from the beginning of October, because if it's genre, and then works all the way through, gets you quiet to start, it picks up again. So you're aware of committing to a project and then going, just shot that. Yeah, I have a feeling we've got over the line at this project, and I really want to go to that project. So it is planning. As much as I take a lot of work, I am quite choosy, is picky about looking at a director or be kind of microscopic with the script as well to go, right, there's something really, really good in here that I want to be part of. And you're bringing something as well to him. I think anybody that I'd worked with that was Hanley Draw, Johnny, he will, he'll knock on doors, like if he loves the project, he'll be banging on a festival door, annoying people to go, did you want this to find a home here? And I think more actors should be doing that, just taking a bit more of the reins and helping out with it, kind of exec producer roles, that if they've been to festivals before, they've had an enjoyable experience. There is nothing to lose by going, I finished a piece of work, I have been with you for 2 years. Could you please get eyes on this short or this feature? I would love to find a home for it. I had such a great time, and I think you guys would love it. And I think it's a good fit for a project. Now, it's not going to work with every film or show, or feature or show, but I think that needs to be in an actor's mind there, because you're not an actor anymore. You can't just be a actor. You do have a lot of paths. It's a producing, trying to raise money, sophisticated strategies. Be great if you were just turn up and did your turn, but I quite enjoy the others.
Yes.
Even finding out about the murky, nefarious world of distribution, I do enjoy all of that.
So you have done a lot of different films. I see you personally in so many different sort of sub-genres within the genre. Is there something you dream doing that you've not quite got to do yet? What would you love to do that you haven't done yet?
So I really like doing just pure bits, yes, and that's not necessarily big. It's something that has to be years ago, but something even quite recently, considered like the late 70s a period.
Yes.
But certainly there's, I would love to do, and I think there's sort of on ground here, like a World War One horrors or horrors within that era and setting those.
It's not more of that, because it's such a horrible time.
It was a horrible time, and more horror westerns. I'd like to see a town from there. From Dusk Till Dawn is essentially a horror western, but
You do me a favour, if you get in a horror western, can you put me in it? I think I look dynamite in a cowboy, and it'd be great. I've always thought I could be a cowboy. It could be my first kill. Look, I don't know how I feel about that, actually. Like, it's sort of murdered me, Everyone acts like murdered me, too.
no, I'll kick you to the area, but
So I ask everybody this, and I will warn you, you're not allowed to say just do it, because everyone says that. But your one piece of advice to people that want to get into filmmaking.
Okay, right. Have a plan.
Okay.
I like that hassle, I would say. And there is, when you first start out, and I think that's where what people say, go and just do it. And there is the excitement of throwing yourself into this thing that is a new departure, or if you're saying goodbye to it and no career, or you're starting out, you have the enthusiasm of, right? That's a friend might have up an office, you're giving everything, but you can quickly run out of steam, because that's insane. It's not an infinite resource then, so you need to have a plan. Yeah, things that work well have, watertight plans. So know the lay of the land, do your homework, find out about production companies and casting directors, and more importantly, directors and their work, what type of work they like to make, and have that, where you've got something that you can talk about or wax lyrical about, and it's not just about you wanting to be an actor. You've got to embrace the industry as a craft and the stories that you like, and outside of that, culturally, what interests you. Like along the way, I'm not just in a cinema for 5 days or 4 days, gorgeous. Museums are a huge thing. Seeing that kind of stuff, taking yourself off to do stuff like that. It's really, really informative and part of the process as well. So you're not cocooned in this world where it only defines you. You're like, we're the sum of many parts. We're not just this. We can be lots of different things that define us when we're in front of the canvas. So that's what I said. Make sure you have a plan. Make it an intro.
This is normally where I would end the interview, but actually I'd love to expand on that plan thing a bit more. Like, it's such a wonderful dream, isn't it, to go, I'm going to quit my job, drop everything. I'm going to move to wherever, and I'm going to be a famous actor. That's that. Realistically, it isn't that, is it? You know, like,
No.
so what you say, how about, you know, keep jobs, but come to festivals, ASV, meet people, me a director, you
Pay your rent or your mortgage or whatever you want.
your job, but go do stuff. Maybe you get some part-time work on a weekend, acting, but now,
Yeah, because I think that's really important, because I think if, say, you have a part-time job and you're engaging with the buffets, it is put on the ground as I do, you know, that you will have these wonderful individuals that you'll meet, and you'll kind of log that going. And somebody just came into the shop, but it's just so extraordinary. I'm trying to remember all their little traits and the kind of the glitches they had and the interesting things they were saying, or how they have heat for different things. But yeah, I think so there's the initial excitement and success. So you do need a foundation. Yeah. And you do need to support yourself, or you have a family. That's a very important thing, because that's one thing can unravel very, very quickly. I did try it, you know, and to be perfectly honest and frank, you know, I did just try to do this thing at the very beginning, where you think you've got this thing called the industry by the reins, and you don't, because it's such an amorphous kind of thing, and it shifts in fashion or what's happening in the world culturally, you know. It's something that you cannot control, and I think people make that mistake that I can control this, I could be the destiny, Robert. And so many decisions about how work goes for you, or the way it might go for you, happens in rooms that you're not in.
yeah.
So you have to have you have to have a foundation to be there, to be solid, that it doesn't unwind. You know, I tried it for a year, nearly cost me everything. So don't do that. That's a really idiotic idea.
A plan.
Yeah, have a plan.
Or, alternatively, you can get an already established actor and force them to be in their film on camera, where they said I can be in your cowboy horror. So, done. That was easy. So,
That's what I contract.
no, I love that, because some of the world and media teaches you that, you know, just do it. Go, it's easy. Just go and follow your dream. You don't follow your dream, you are the master of your own destiny, or no, you can visualize it, admit it. You can't. No.
No. Now, and I think that's a really interesting, and it's a good belief system to romance and embrace for a while. But you know, I think sometimes you got to go back to the next step would be, you know, the drama school club to maybe, and that's not everyone has to do that. But I've had both my time in grammar school was great, don't get you wrong. I loved every unit, because that was go back as an older student, then it was great, so break the core of it. But drama schools are interesting places that they sell that tree. And they only have to have one famous person every 3 years to renew the cycle of selling the dream.
Yeah.
And it's a belief system that's very flawed, I feel. And the drama schools tend not to bring people in the reality of your day-to-day. They'll ground it in the non-reality of the famous person who you see doing the busy cop trans fashion under a guest, you know, and they were leaving. And that's wonderful. Good on them for getting that. How lucky they are and how privileged and but you tip your hat to go working and getting the stress. But the bigger pool of actors are all scurrying around, doing their part-time jobs, doing self-takes, trying to make it work every day. And they're equally as important as that very, very lucky individual there. Possibly more talented.
No.
You know.
I suppose there's looked as blow.
Huge, Matt. Huge.
Well, Johnny, thank you so much. It's been a genuine pleasure to speak to you, Dad. Thank you. It's too thin to speak to me, but I appreciate it anyway. Thank you so much. And enjoy the rest of your festival. Liam, thank you. Cheers. Thank you.